and there are other violations of the Constitution that we will need to consider. I'm not at this point, Jake, prepared to say what I'll recommend.
And ultimately, if only Democrats vote to impeach the President Trump, and Republicans, and maybe a couple Democrats, do not vote to impeach him, vote against that, doesn't that suggest that this is a partisan impeachment? Wouldn't that hurt the credibility of the impeachment that only Democrats vote to support it?
I think what it will mean if we decide that we cannot accept this kind of conduct in the President of the United States, and the Republicans decide that because of the President's party, or because they're afraid of a primary, or for whatever reason, they cannot vote to support impeachment, I think it'll mean a failure by the GOP to put the country above their party. And it will have very long-term consequences if that's where we end up. And if not today, I think Republican members in the future, to their children and their grandchildren, will have to explain why they did nothing in the face of this deeply unethical man who did such damage to the country.
President Nixon resigned rather than be impeached. He was never actually impeached by the House. It was going through the process, and he resigned before it could happen. Do you think President Trump should resign?
Well, I certainly think that he's committed the most grievous misconduct. I have no illusions about Donald Trump doing what's right for the country or what's best for the country. That's never been where he's coming from. What my Republican colleagues, I think, need to decide and to search their own conscience about is, why was it that in the past Republicans were willing to put country first? Why were there people like Howard Baker then but not now? I would hope that there will be Republicans who will be willing to step forward and say, whatever the political consequences, if this was Barack Obama had done this, they would have voted to impeach him in a heartbeat with a fraction of the evidence. It shouldn't matter this is a Republican president. I hope to hell, Jake, if this had been a Democratic president, I would be among those leading the way and saying we need to seriously consider impeaching this president.
Chairman Adam Schiff, thanks so much for your time today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Jake.
The impeachment inquiry